Euler was a Swiss man. To be a cleric was his original plan, but he had no interest in God, and Johann Bernoulli's math had him odd. So he left the church for mathematical pursuit, headed to the University of Basel to compute the mathematical language, earning his college degree at the mere age of 15, and ending up in St. Petersburg, where he married the year right after of 1735. Euler solved the problem known as the Seven Bridges of Königsberg, in which he proved the first theorem of planar graph theory.
But he wasn't just a geek who worked in stuffy rooms, writing, thinking, dreaming of just math. Oh no, he was a man who partied till he went over the moon. He and Katharina Geselli had lots of fun in the bedroom, ending up with 13 children to which he could pass off his heirlooms. Though only 5 children survived infancy, making up great mathematical discoveries while holding his surviving babies made him fancy.
He was a brilliant blend of discovery and intellect, memorized the entirety of Virgil's Aeneid end to end. He would never hesitate, but he could tell you the first and last line of every page. That was Euler's brain.
And at a very young age, Euler put that brain into gaining fame. The problem that had stumped top mathematicians, Jacob, Johann, and Daniel Bernoulli, he solved with ease. Known as the Basel problem, to find a closed form for the sum of the infinite series, he went on to prove Newton's identities, Fermat's theorem on sums of two squares, and invent the totient function, which he then used to alter Fermat's little theorem into the well-known Euler's theorem.
Through his many textbooks that he created, he circulated notational conventions, the concept of function, f of x multiplex. His achievements span all the math subjects from algebra to geometry to trig, dreamt up sine, cosine, tangent, the letter e for the base of the natural logarithm. He made known to us sigma, the Greek letter for summations, the letter I to denote to the imaginary unit, and although he did not invent it, he went to great lengths to popularize it. The famous pi used to denote the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, 3.14159265359, all represented in one little letter. One simple Greek letter. Needless to say, it's no wonder he was one of the greatest mathematical professors of all time.
The theory of hypergeometric series, Q-series, hyperbolic trigonometric functions, and the analytic theory of continued fractions. The proof of an infinitude of prime numbers, and describing numerous applications of the Bernoulli numbers, Fourier series, Venn diagrams, Euler's numbers, and the constants e and pi, continued fractions and integrals, just went to show how much Euler did know. With the knowledge he had formulated and accumulated, he went to solve many real-world problems analytically that showed how he had lived his life mathematically successfully.
The list of his achievements go on to be abundant. He had more proofs, theorems, and mathematical formulas named after him than his number of children that had survived at least. Euler's numbers, Euler's approximations, Euler's method, Euler-Maclaurin series, and Euler-Mascheroni constant are but to name a few. And by 1772, he had already proved that 2 to the 31 minus 1 is a Mersenne prime. But what was even more sublime to the mathematics community, and even to this day, remains a treasured piece with its ability to amaze that will never cease. The most beautiful mathematical formula ever. It was regarded as remarkable for its single uses of the notions of addition, multiplication, exponentation, and equality, the important constants of 0, 1, e, I, and pi, praised by the mathematical community as Euler's identity.
To many, it was known as God's equation. What Euler essentially did was take the proven series for both cosine x and sine x, and prove that it was equivalent to the series of e of x, and thus e of x equals cosine x plus sine x. Then in a stroke of genius, using the substitution principle with success to replace x with ix, he then proceeded to show that e to the I of x is equivalent to cosine I of x plus sine I of x. And that's when people expected him to stop because he had already done what his peers couldn't. But Euler surprised them. Then on a whole nother level, he took away the x to put in its place pi. Then with some wand-waving pixie dust and algebraic manipulation, Euler wrote out his identity in a mathematical formula containing only 5 characters. E, the base of the natural logarithm. I, the gateway to the world of complex numbers. Pi, the circular ratio. 1, the multiplicative identity, and 0, the additive identity, all related to each other in one simple, beautiful equation. He transcended the normal boundaries of math by elaborating on transcendental functions, the introduction of the gamma function, which proved to be a crucial junction in the history of our math.
But like most geniuses of the past, he had contributions that didn't last, like his Tegmon Novae Theorie Musiae, which didn't receive wide attention because it catered mostly to Euler's own interests, which were to incorporate musical theory into mathematics and apply theory to sound. Unfortunately, when he proposed the idea, his colleagues questioned if his brain needed to be found. Needless to say, Euler was disheartened, but the rest of his life made up for that small failure.
Finally, at the end of his days, with a lap full of Paris Academy prizes, the great mathematician known as Euler, at the age of 70, had gone completely blind, forced to spend the rest of his days only solving math problems in his mind. But the man has gone down in history, continuing to torture us in our calculus textbooks along with his colleagues Taylor and Maclaurin, in the most dreaded unit of the year.
Hold it.
I forgot the lid! Ah! Okay. We good. Did you film that? Okay, that's good.
No, keep doing it!
Go.
What am I supposed to do now?
Count the tree!
Push. Keep going, this is entertaining.